Remember Juba agreement? That agreement is a total disaster. Juba agreement was signed in October in 2020 between the government and some armed movements to end the war in Darfur, South Kordofan State, and Blue Nile State. A war that continued for decades, where millions of people have been displaced and thousands of people have been killed. Let us ask ourselves the question: has there been any benefit out of that agreement? Juba agreement. Has there been any peace and security in places where there has been war? Darfur, South Kordofan State, and Blue Nile State. And there are a lot of issues in the agreement here. First, reorganization and formation of security forces and the army, whereby, according to the agreement, members of the armed movements will be integrated into government forces when the front militias are no longer there. Second, applying transitional justice in all of Sudan. Third, compensation and repression for damages. Fourth, developing nomadic and pastoral sector. Fifth, redistribution of wealth and economic rights. Sixth, solve the issue of the displaced and refugees. Now, if you look at these issues, you find there's only one of these issues has been fully, executed and achieved, which is redistribution of wealth and economic rights. Simply, Juba agreement was signed only to participate in the government. Now, members of these armed movements have changed in a blink of an eye from being criminals, rebels who fought against the government, who killed thousands of people, who displaced millions of people. They have changed from being criminals into government personnel because they have been nominated ministers, governors, uh, members of cabinet, members of sovereign council, and so forth. All they care about is their share, their share in the government. Now, they fought in the name of the people in places where there has been a war, but in fact, they don't care about the people in that marginalized areas. Simply, there isn't any benefits from Juba agreement. In fact, if you look at the advantages of this and disadvantages of Juba agreement, you find that there are a lot of disadvantages of Juba agreement, and probably you will not find any advantage of that agreement at all. Because if I take West Kordofan State as an example, because the governor of West Kordofan State is a member of those armed movements who signed Juba agreement. In West Kordofan State nowadays, there is a rising insecurity, there is a poor development, there is a tribal fight, there is a poor education. Nothing, not even one single achievement in West Kordofan State one can talk about. In fact, there is a total chaos, a total disaster in West Kordofan State. And if this government, although the government is although the governor is the chairman of the security committee, where he's got the military, where he's got the rapid support forces, where he's got the intelligence and all the forces. He's got all the forces in his hands. He can stop that chaos. He can stop that fighting, tribal fighting. Tribalism is the highest in West Kordofan State nowadays, and this governor is not doing anything to stop it. He's not doing anything for peace and security and development. Peace can only be achieved when there is a development. And in West Kordofan State, in all of the state, there isn't any development. Health care is going down, education is going down, security is going down, everything is going down. I only give you that example as to know that uh, Juba agreement was nothing but a disaster. In fact, Juba agreement has even affected our lives negatively because we have paid a lot of money to those armed movements in order to, execute that agreement. And the security arrangements have not even been executed yet. There's a lot of money to be paid in order to fully execute and implement and achieve Juba agreement. And that's why I call it a disaster. I don't see any positive thing that Sudanese people have got from that agreement, and only God knows what is going to happen in the near future. And I think, in my opinion, I suggest that Juba agreement should be reviewed and, if necessary, should be cancelled.